Hi crafters and welcome. So today is Saturday, February 28th, and where did this month go? Crazy. But that means that the new online exclusives will be available next week starting on Tuesday, March 3rd. And this is one of those that will be available on Tuesday, March 3rd. I wasn't going to get this. I didn't get this on my first order, but I've seen so many cute examples and videos out there using it that I decided I just had to get it. Had to get it. All right. So this is Cutest Crew. It is a bundle set. Let me grab this out for you. So it is 11 stamp, 16 die cuts. All right, so let's focus on the stamps first. All right, and yes, my index card I did upside down. All right, so let's go ahead. Let me grab out a piece of basic white, and let's show you how these look. All right, so as you can see, you have three main groupings of friends, or the Cutest Crew. You have the birds, you have the dogs, you have the cats, and then you have a bunch of little filler stamps, and then some word greetings. So let's start with the groupings of friends. I'm gonna call them groupings of friends. So here's the first one. I have used these a little bit. I've been playing around with them. So hopefully there's not any ink left on them when I played with them. I'm going to use my inked memento just because this is a little bit of a longer stamp. And I want to go ahead and cover it pretty evenly. So I'm going to stamp these guys twice, but I'm not going to do second generation because then you're not going to see it at all, pretty much. And I'll show you why in a second. You know what, I probably didn't need to stamp it twice on the dogs because I do have one off to the side here. All right, so there is that one. Let me wipe it off first. I'm going to try to keep my hands a little bit cleaner today by wiping off the stamp before I peel it off. Sorry, I know that's going to mean that you guys have to watch me do a lot of wiping, but it's all for the best. Here are the cats. And I still got ink on myself. Maybe it's from the cloth itself. All right, so let's do the cats. They're a very fine line stamp, just so you can see. Not a lot of really dark lines, like there's some on the collars, but on the cats you have very thin lines, nothing really dark on it. So let's go ahead and clean that one off. I know, you're probably amazed. Anyone who's watched my videos for long knows that I usually don't clean off the stamps while I'm doing my video. All right, so let's go in here now. I think we can use the smaller blocks now. Sorry, I felt that coming on. So let's go ahead and let me put these over here. Let me put this here so you don't hear me tapping. All right. Now this one, I think I'm only going to do one. I have to look at my dies just to make sure. Nope, I'm going to do it twice. I'll show you why in a second. Oh, I didn't get very good on that one. Let me see if I can line it up. Get my head in there. All right. It's a little bit shaky, but you get the idea. Oh, you know what? I did find this when I was cleaning the other day. This is my picture frame that I have a magnetic vent cover on one side so that when I'm doing these videos I can put those up and not lose them. All right, let's do the words next. How about that? So let's see, I can go even smaller on the blocks now on the words. So just a little hello. And we have some longer ones. I'm not going to lay them flat first, so they might be a little bit tilted. Have the best day. That one I really have on there. A little bit tilted. So glad we're friends. And again, these go with the same very thin script single line. See, everything is very distinct. And the last word is happy birthday. All right, so now what's left is a bunch of what I call filler pieces. So you have the puppy paws. I guess those could be, could those be for cats? No, cats have, yeah, I don't think those can be for cats. But I think in this instance, I see people have been using that for both the dogs and the cats. We have the little bird feet. Not bird feet, bird tracks. We have the butterflies. Here, I'm going to do those. Yeah, I'll do those right here in the middle. Again, that very distinct thin line. And last, but certainly not least, the flowers. I'll put the flowers up here. Oops. Do those again, just because I didn't get very good. There we go. All right. Let me put this away. Sorry about that. Let me cover up the stamp pad. All right, so there you have that stamp set. Now let's go to the dies. You know what, let me go ahead, since I've cleaned those off, let me go ahead and put these on. I don't know why I stamped those upside down. So this is how I choose to have them. I stamp them on a piece of cardstock. I put, when you get this, you get the hard plastic and you get the softer plastic. So I chose to tape down my softer plastic after I stamped. That way they won't, they're not going to stick. If you're on these, and I don't know if you saw it earlier, but on my Hello, I had part of this that was ripped off on it. So if you have that plastic down, you're not going to get that. It's also a good way to know that you have all of these. So I have those all down. Just going to go ahead and press, and then I'll bring them up. All right, so that's how I store the stamps. Let's get to the dies. Now, for the dies, I was coloring and playing with the dog. So I'm going to show, I'll probably cut this one out instead of this, but I wanted to show you, ooh, hair, but I wanted to show you how it's stamped. All right, so let's get to the dies. I'm going to get my Stampin' Cut Emboss machine from my counter over here. All right, and remember there are 16 dies. So there's going to cut out those long strips, but then you have individuals here. And that's where the fun begins. Then you have the flowers and the butterflies. But the flowers aren't necessarily matched up because, yeah, these are across that way and your stamp is a cluster. And the butterflies don't match up. See how they're here, but here they're a little different. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go to the dies. First thing first, let's grab the dog. First, we're going to grab the dog outline, which is this one. I'm just making sure that I see those black lines, that they're not getting cut off. They're right at the edge there. Oh, where did my little tape go? I have I have one of these here. I think I just moved it myself. Yep. All right, hang on. I was creating on my desk, so I had my tape over on my work desk. All right, let's get this line back up. All right, looks like we're not going to cut off any puppy heads. All right, there's the tail, there's his ears, and the flowers. All right, so let's go ahead and run that through. And look at that. You know what? I need to have a piece. I need to have something behind it. I think that's why the camera always has a time focusing. Let's see if this works. So there you have that. But now you can go ahead and take these individual dogs right here and you can tape those down. Put it back over here. It's easier for me to do it on the right side. All right, so we have this dog that's running. Now you can't see through the die, so you're going to make sure that this is kind of right on those black lines. You have this dog. Again, I'm just making sure I cover up those black lines, our stamp lines. And then let me grab another piece. Oh, I think I moved that one a little. And then you have this last one, who's right here. And then the reason why you want to tape it down is that you are very close to that other die, and you don't want them to shift and cut into one another, because they will cut, a die will cut into another die. All right. So now let's go ahead. And you can see I was a little off on this one because I cut off his little paw. But let's go ahead, turn these upside down, grab out, I take your pick tool so I can pull those out. Now you can see I cut off his front paws. Poor puppy dog. And that one I was off on a little bit too. You can tell by the ears that I was off a little. All right, let me grab this real quick. All right, so that was the dogs. Let's go ahead and do the cats. So here's the cats overall. I'm going to line up, making sure that I see those black lines on the outline. So I'll show you here, then I'll tape it down. So see, I want to make sure that I'm right on that outline. So I barely see the outline through the die itself. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to go up one here. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's run that one through. Grab that so you can see there's those cats cut out. And again, the cats have individuals. So we have, let me see which one's this. So we have the cat that's straight up and down. We have the cat that's on its back. And we have the cat that looks like it's trying to pounce. All right. Now, if I was doing these individually, I probably would cut out, I would use this as my guide. And what I mean by that is that I would cut out the pieces, and I'll show you in reverse once I get these cut out. I would cut these pieces out of white, and then, let me get another little piece. And then I would drop them in. Oops. Yeah, this is probably not going to be fun because they're so close together. It'll just give you an idea. I also still have my magnetic mat, but we don't carry that anymore for Stampin' Up. That's why I'm not using it. But when I tested this out, that's what I used, my magnetic mat. I was able to get a much more accurate die cut. All right. So then again, here's this one. And what I was saying is I would probably cut these out in plain white, and then I would put him into where he is in the die, and then stamp down with my stamp positioner to get a little bit more of an accurate. Or you could cut this out of a piece of white cardstock itself and do the same. Just when you have something this detailed, it's a little bit, oh, doesn't want to pick it up, a little bit easier. Now I don't know if you can tell, see on the back side here, see those little cut marks? That means you could bring that little arm up and put something underneath if you wanted to. Can you see how I have that arm bent up a little? So there's that one. And there's that one. Didn't do too bad lining those up. Get those up. All right, so now we have the birds. The birds to me are the easiest. I'm going to cut out the big outline here. I don't even think I'm going to tape that one down. So there's the birds. And again, you have on these every one of the individuals. So there's that one. So you have that one. And we'll tape it down. You have the tall, skinny one. And like I said, usually I would do these individually because they are so close to one another. You know, I'm going to hold off on that one. I'm just going to do these two. It's just too close to that other die, and I'm afraid I'm going to cut into the other die. So this one I'm going to line up the legs. Make sure the legs are pretty spot on. Alright, so there the legs are spot on, but the beak was a little off. Alright, let's do these two, see how they look. Oh, there he is. So there's that little bird. Let's see if I can get it up with the tape. There's that little bird. And again, the little wings cut out. Have that little, so you can elevate the wing if you wanted to. All right, let me put those two. And let's do that third one now. See how close that beak was to him? That's why I didn't want to run it through. Oh, excuse me for the sniffles. Our temperatures have been crazy here in the Chicagoland area. Crazy. All right. Put that there. See if I can get it up with my take your pick tool. I'm at the very end of this putty, and I had bought a bunch many years ago when they first came out, so I wouldn't run out. Well, putty has a tendency to dry out. Let me see. Oh, no, that wasn't good. I dropped them down there. All right. You're not going to see them because I dropped him down here. Now I have to go ahead and get my magnet, see if I can grab him out. I'll have to get him later. He's down in here. Oh my goodness. All right. Yes. I have to get him in a little bit. All right, so you won't be able to see that one. Sorry. All right, let me just make sure he didn't. Nope, he's not on there. All right. That's what happens when you try to do that to get out your... Oh, is that the... Oh, there he is. He was stuck on here. I thought... Oh, goodness. Gotta be careful with these magnets. I thought when I hit him, I thought he went underneath my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. This one is having a hard time coming out, so we're going to poke him out. So there's that third bird. Good thing I thought that die had gone down inside that because I have had them go inside that little well before. All right, let me go grab that again because we have a few more things just to cut out. We have the two little side pieces, or the little decorative, and then we have the butterfly and flower. And you know what, since I have, that's not long enough. All right, let me find something that's long enough. Is this long enough? No. All right, let me grab one of my 4x12s over here. All right, just grabbing the 4x12. We're going to put this down. We're going to angle it a little bit though so it doesn't go through straight. We're going to put this down, and at the same time we're going to put down the flowers and the butterflies. So they're all going to be one pass through, all on this crumb cake piece of cardstock. Right, now I should be done with this. Oops, sorry, that was right by the microphone. I'm so sorry. All right, so you have this strip. I'm just doing this to get all the little pieces out. So you have this strip. Let me put it against the magnet so you can see. You have this strip. And then you have these two. Oh, one of the butterflies. Oh, they're all individualized. So the butterflies, here, there's a lot of scraps. Let me come over here for a second. Look at those scraps. Oh, my son's little scraper. Let's get all the scraps off that. All right, so here we are. So get all of those. I'll scrape later. So there's a very, very tiny butterfly. We'll bring it up so you can see. See, it's a very, very tiny butterfly. And then we also have two more butterflies. Can't tell if these come out or if these are the, no, they come out. So there's another teeny tiny butterfly. There's another teeny tiny butterfly. So very tiny butterflies. All right, I'll put those there. And then the flowers. Let me put this over here so I don't lose that. And the flowers, I'm just going to hit the little pokey holes at the back. And there you have the flowers. Let me put that against the back so you can see that. So there's the flowers. They do the outlines. You do have the inside centers you can also use to do like piecemeal, paper piecing. All right. Wow. So there we have it, guys. Let me get some of these. Oh my gosh. There are little flower pieces all over the place. All right. So there we have it. There's the stamps that we didn't cut out. The sayings, the little stamped areas. We have all of our little die cuts. Both individual pieces and the long strips. Wow, watching this is like watching paint dry, isn't it? You're like, come on, Roxy, get with it. You can do it. All right, so there's that. There's the strip of dogs. There's the individuals. There's a strip of birds, the individuals. There's a strip of cats, the individuals. Some extra die cutting pieces here. And then, of course, the butterflies. All right. So that's what we have, guys. That's your Cutest Crew 11-piece stamp set, 16-piece die set. Sorry for the extremely long video. Come on back tomorrow. We'll do a card together, but I'll have a couple other examples ready to go for you. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.